everyone.
Pranam Chidanandji, now you can start.
Namaskar, good evening. We have been discussing many topics, leave alone these sessions of dialogue. In life in general, too, every one of us remains so active when possible, and when we are tired, we are sometimes so tired we cannot even lift a blade of grass. We then rest. We are all the time managing this energy in us. We wish to be energetic, but that is not the nature's law. There are times when we have a lot of enthusiasm, we feel we can move the mountains, and there are other times when we feel so low and helpless. In whatever we do, including eating, drinking, walking, running, working on something, in all these activities, outwardly there is certain movement, physical movement, mental movement. Sometimes we say, I have been creative in this work. Some other time we say, oh, my life has become so mechanical. 1,000, if not more, descriptions are made of the way we live. Against that backdrop, a question of an unusual kind can be asked. Whether you are walking or sitting, whether you are moving about or stationary, whether you are laughing or crying, no matter what the external description is. Now the question is there a separate self operating in you? The word self itself is enough. The adjective separate is not required. I just mentioned it once for greater clarity, especially for those who somewhere else might talk about a self which is one in all and so on. In the literature of Sri J. Krishnamurti, there is no room for that kind of universal self, the self in all, the self with an uppercase S while writing, and so on. Case material, the talks that Krishnaji gave used just one word, the self, which is nothing but the sense of I everyone has, and there is a sense of separateness. The sense of going up or coming down, the sense of being better or being so bad while all others have gone ahead and so on. There is this sense of I. That is the sense of I which gets hurt and some other times elated. So Krishnaji talked extensively about the self. So now coming back to the important question I suggested, no matter what the condition of the body and mind are externally, is it possible that there is no self in our being? In Indian spiritual tradition, once in a while they talk about somebody who is illumined but then lies maybe on a roadside like a python. The Sanskrit word for python is ajagara, and some illumined people, women or men, lying somewhere without motion for a long time, like a python, are praised. They are called some avadhutas, they are called some extraordinary kind of enlightened beings, while the puzzling dimension is they are just lying down. It is said a python eats a fairly big animal, then there is enough food for it to live. Therefore, for days on end, the python, the creature called python, does not go hunting. This food is enough to sustain it for maybe days, if not months. Likewise, what is the factor that makes this illumined one to lie down like a python for very long time? What is the mystery of this Ajagara Vritti? Well, we should not be carried away by these examples. However, the idea is to such a person to do things or not to do things make no difference. For such a person, lady or man, has a non-judgmental mind. In this world, overwhelming majority of all of us are so used to not only judging others, he is good, he is bad, she is good, she is bad, and so on. And when someone else is good, we have a tendency to envy them. When someone is failing, making mess of her life, someone is really cutting a sorry figure in some field of activity, then we pity them and indirectly we feel proud. I am doing so much better. Look at her, look at him. They are not able to get things done. So pride fills us while we pity or look down at somebody, and a sense of low idea fills us when we envy somebody. Oh, what she achieved in a single day is not possible for me, even if I struggle for 10 years. So a thought like that may come, and we feel low about ourselves. We feel that she is so great, whoever. So, without going round and round, let me tell you one of the highest definitions of meditation is absence of the self. Meditation, in this sense, that is the sense in which Krishna ji seems to employ the word meditation. In language, English or Marathi, Punjabi or Bengali, no matter what, Spanish or Italian, in any language, there is a certain difficulty. A certain word is used maybe by majority in some sense, but a smaller number maybe use that word in another sense. I would say that with regard to the word meditation, thousands and thousands of writers, teachers, speakers, gurus, instructors, guides, and fitness experts, and so on and so forth, thousands and thousands of them use the word meditation not just in one different way, but many different ways, different from the rigorous sense or rigorous interpretation of Krishna ji. For Krishna ji, Meditation is where the self is not. He does not even entertain questions of whether the self subsides for good or will it raise its, shall we say, ugly head again. For bringing the idea of time, continuity, I am free from the self and I shall remain like that for rest of my life, itself is an activity of the self. And to take interest in that kind of continuity, to enjoy certain blissful experience in the name of meditation, and to seek that such blissful experience continue forever is a operation of the self, to want continuity. I must always be here in this universe. Let others come and go, but I, like the pole star, have to remain. It's an aspiration in human mind, and we need to inquire. So, how come in the word meditation is used in so many different ways? We should not concern ourselves much with that, but briefly speaking, the word meditation has been very attractive to lots of people because they think you meditate and you have lasting peace while you can be the same personality as before. Majority of people want to have the cake and eat it too. They want to have the cake and eat it too. When you eat the cake, there is no cake left. That's an idiom, everyone knows. So they don't want to inquire into their selfish operations. They don't want to question how some biases, some conditionings, some rigid ideas have been ruling their life, have been shaping their life. They don't want to question that. But in a compartmentalized manner, for 20 minutes here, for 30 minutes there, or maybe in a special meditation retreat upon the hill, in a resort by the lake, oh, they get some fancy ideas. They proudly say to their friends, I am going to some Himalayan village. For what? For a very intense meditation retreat. Just to say that fills them with excitement. Alas, meditation does not happen by just choosing a place, by following a technique. Then are we saying that all this other literature is absolutely wrong? I, for one, do not say they are totally or absolutely wrong. They are using the word meditation for something which someone like Krishnaji would not do. For a lot of people, meditation is what calms the mind for some time. Meditation can be some relaxation. Athletes, including Olympic gold winners, also use the word meditation. They proudly say in some interviews, I meditate before every major event, every challenging competition. It gives me focus. It gives me calmness. It gives me a certain collectedness, blah, 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 they say. And the whole world is excited. You know, you and I get excited when some gold medal winner, an Oscar winner, or a celebrity from Hollywood or Bollywood appears on the stage and says, this is the secret of my success. We say, are we interested in actually doing our work well? or preferably without doing our work well, we want the gold medal. We want the celebrity status. Alas, in 100 ways, our mind deceives us. For Krishna ji, as I have understood, I need to say it, in fact, everywhere. For Krishna ji, it's not so easy to understand. At a given point of time, we have a certain understanding. Then we get better insights too. So, Krishnaji would use the word meditation where there is a cessation, there is an ending to all wanting to become. I must become famous. I must be praised by the community and so on. I want to reach there is a thorn in the flesh. No wonder wherever J. Krishnamurti speaks about meditation, he connects it sometimes with nature, seeing the rainbow. It doesn't have to be really something so beautiful as the rainbow. Seeing sometimes some villagers carrying some weight upon their heads or carrying something heavy upon their shoulders, returning home during evening after a long day's work. So we see, and suppose there is a certain insight. These villagers and we are no different. There is a certain creative insight, certain original insight, not remembering what is said in some book, not something that is contained in a Sanskrit shloka or some Urdu or some other composition. If you remember that and then say, yeah, now I understand what is said there is exactly what applies here, and we try to imagine oneness, that would be very artificial. Without planning, without aiming at it, we just inquire. There is a certain investigation without deciding to investigate. There is just the operation of certain intelligence. All of us do have intelligence. Alas, it is normally used for lots of other purposes. If the intelligence in us operates, going to the fundamental question, are we separate? Do we have any business to say we are blessed and they are deplorable? Or they are so fortunate and we have messed up our life. We have such stress and such tension and such misery. And here are these villagers. How fortunate they are. In this way, we and they, high and low, accomplished and a failure, and such things suppose come to our mind, then there is the operation of the self. So, in a certain insight where the self subsides, where separation ends, where thought, here we use the word thought in the sense of, again, something revolving around the self. The word thought is not used in the sense of a certain recognition. This flower is red. Somewhere we may call it also a thought. Oh, this cloud is dark. Or looking at our own shirt. Oh, my shirt is soiled. That is not a thought that divides. But imagine, I look at my shirt, I say, oh, it is soiled. And then I get a little concerned whether somebody would judge me as uncultured, uncivilized, coming to a get together in a soiled shirt. So, a sense of will I be judged as negative? That creates the self. So, thought where the judgmental self and the self that is judged comes into picture is what we call thought here. Where thought subsides, there is meditation. In that sense, where psychological time subsides, there is meditation. Thought, time, and the self are together, they are one. Can we appreciate meditation in this heightened sense, where on one hand, the very fundamental issue is sorted out, and on the other, there are dimensions which are together, which go together. As we already said, meditation is not willfully brought about. Therefore, a statement which most people do not understand at all and some get confused about, the statement coming from Krishnamurti is conscious meditation is no meditation. And the whole world is investing money and time to learn techniques of meditation. And then they say every morning between 6 and 6:30. Somebody says 5 and 5:30. Somebody says no, 4 and 4:30. In Brahma Muhurta, I will do meditation. So when you say I will do meditation and whatever you are doing, let's say at that time, while doing, you say, today my meditation is going on so well. Or another morning or afternoon, evening or night, you say, "Ah, my mind is so distracted. Oh my. You begin to judge yourself. You begin to have a certain insecurity about your so-called spiritual future. You begin to get very concerned about your worthiness, your being good or bad, etc. That identification with certain thoughts undoes meditation. There is no meditation if one is judgmental of how well one is doing this or that, or for that matter, how well one is meditating. So, where the self is, there is no meditation. Therefore, the psychological time, which is something on the axis of which we visualize our growing, our getting better, the so called self improvement. As you know well, self improvement, self development is a huge industry in this world. Do these two things and your life will change. Do this for 20 days and you will not be the same person. In this way, authors write. Sometimes such lines are the titles of books and they sell very well. They sell so well that that self-help book, we don't know whether it helped anybody, but the self-help book would have helped the author quite a lot. Good earnings through that. Because he wrote some fancy ideas of becoming 7 steps to enlightenment and so on. Krishnaji mocked at all this. He laughed at all this, if not condemned them. For rather than going into the roots of desire, these titles, these promises, these assurances, according to him, strengthen the movement of desire. I and I want this is a construction of thought. Thought creates, constructs so many structures. Just as an actor goes up the stage, one day as a king, in another show he is a beggar, in some third show, the same actor is a sportsman, and so on. So the play, the production, the direction of the play make that actor one day this, another day that, and so on. Like that, friends, thought makes us an achiever on some occasions. And failure, I am such a failure. I am so unworthy. I am so unfit. Shame upon me. In this also, there are certain thoughts coming to us, and that is the mischief of thought. Therefore, I am using the word judgmental repeatedly. Where there is judging, evaluating, we bring about high and low, whereas quiet attention, gentle attention stands apart from judgmentalism. Quiet attention sees what thought is doing. We need not over idealize attention or awareness. That moment there is attention, all egoism, all selfishness, all scheming, all manipulativeness, all insecurity, all anxiety vanish. You and I are prone to idealize. I'll be in attention and all this will vanish. No, that idealizing is another problem. Without idealizing, let any of these emotions be. We don't have to fight with them. We don't have to say to our fear, hey, fear, why are you still here? Get away. we, we don't have to say, go away, fear. We don't have to say, bliss, come in. So, who are we to invite bliss? Who are we to chase away fear? Our job, if at all you may call it a job, is to notice there is fear. That's what we often say. What is? Fear is. That's the ground reality. We want to be fearless, but there is fear. One morning we want to be fresh and jumping out of the bed in enthusiasm, but there is laziness. Though the sun has risen and it is 7:45 a.m., we feel like pulling the blanket a little more up to the nose, if not more, and then sleep. So that laziness is what is. And being hardworking and vibrant, vigorous, etc., is a desire. That comes under what should be. I should be, I should have been, etc. So rather than having a war going on between what is and what should be, is it possible to be attentive to what is without wishing that that anxiety or whatever, or boredom, whatever, without wishing that it vanish immediately. That wishing, I should not be like this, I should be like that. You stand before a mirror and you are 5 feet 6 inches, let us say. And if you say, I want to be 5 feet 9 inches, what does it mean? Normally, we don't do it in the physical context, but in the psychological context, the mind goes into, a craze, all kinds of what we should be, what we could have been, etc., arise, bringing with them happiness or sorrow, hope or despair. Fine. Let the conditioned mind do whatever it wants. Can we notice without embracing that thought, without clinging to that thought, without riding on those thoughts, so to say? Attention makes no issue of what is. It notices what is. The rest of it happens. Let me therefore at this point bring my submissions to a close by saying meditation is observing what is. It is being and not wanting to become. Meditation can happen anywhere, at any time, and there is no restriction. The limitation is the mischievous operation of thought. It is lack of attention. Attention is meditation, and any technique, any repetitive activity may give certain benefits. Somebody's blood pressure may come down, somebody's sugar level may come down, somebody's body ache may go away. Somebody may claim, I experience great relaxation in what I do every day for half an hour and so on. God bless you, but we don't call it meditation. Those techniques may be called something else. In the Vedic literature, there is a word upasana as distinct from dhyana. So, a whole lot of these techniques deserve to be called upasana, whereas dhyana, or even going closer to the matter, jnana, right seeing. Right seeing is a cut above thousands of upasanas or practices. There are practices which do give some benefits, we don't deny, but right seeing and that unbiased seeing is different from going about repetitive procedures and so on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chidanandji. Harshad Parekh sir, please unmute and say. Harshad Parekh sir.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yeah, we are able to hear.
Yeah, it seems that the internet is not very good here, because when I was listening to Swamiji, the voice was stopping for a few seconds and then coming and going. So it may happen that when I am speaking, my voice may stop coming to you. So in that case, I'm not putting on the video right now, because that will make internet even more weaker. So I'm very happy to listen to Swamiji saying that absence of thought is meditation, or conscious meditation is not meditation, and observing what is meditation. We can define meditation in many different ways, and somewhere Krishnaji defined meditation as the discovery from moment to moment of the ways of the self, all our to change the thoughts. That means there is no thinker, only thinking going on and observing that thinking. in that there is no duality between thinker and thought. And so that thoughts can continue without creating any problem. And it can also be called awareness without choice or choiceless awareness when we are able to look at our own mind very, very clearly as it is without controlling it, without shaping it in any directionless, motiveless observation that can be called meditation. It can also be called the emptying of the mind. And in that, the naming process comes to a stop. Like one can observe a tree or a human being without naming, without the knowledge interfering in looking at it. So I would give a metaphor is like meditation, is like sitting in an empty room and with the doors open and the eyes open. And when somebody enters the door and the person knows that somebody has entered in the room, and then that person who has entered moves around and goes away. So, meditation is like observing coming and going of thoughts without doing anything about it. So, one sannyasi who had meditated in Himalayas for many, many years had come to Krishnaji to discuss about meditation, and that Swamiji or monk had lot of discipline, ritual, fasting, lived in solitude, many ascetic practices he had done it, and then he felt that it was not helping him. Then he had stopped it, and then something begin to happen, some new way of and he also had a healing power and many visions of gods and goddesses. But still he was doubting, and he had come to Krishnaji, and they both said that in true meditation there is no meditator, there is no self who is meditating, but meditation is just observing what is without controlling it. And in that, no conflict, no wastage of energy, because our energy is so this is generally our thoughts is not aware of itself, and there is no awareness of thought, and thought changes, goes from one thought to another thought, and in that uh, there is no beauty, no clarity, and trying to understand somebody, it doesn't work as long as we haven't got a clarity. So I have said many things right now. I hope, were you able to hear my voice clearly?
Yes. Yes, sir. We heard everything. Dinesh
Is
Waghmare.
my voice clear? Yeah.
Dinesh Waghmare.
Are you able to hear my
Ah,
voice?
very well.
Yes.
No problem.
Actually, meditation has been defined by many people in a different way, as Swamiji has said. Let us talk first what JK has to say. JK's quotes are basically meditation is breaking of all bondage. It is a state of freedom, but not from something. Meditation is the breaking down of the experiencer. Consciousness as the experiencer, the observer, the chooser, the sensor, the will must come to an end. Voluntarily and happily, without any hope or reward. The seeker ceases in the meditation. The seeker ceases in the meditation. This Swamiji has also said. So this is what the essence of JK, what he says. Further he says, perception without thought. Perception without thought is one of the strongest phenomena. It is total and part of meditation. It is part of meditation. It is not meditation, but it is a part of meditation. Perception without the perceiver in meditation is to commune with the height and depth of the immense. This is most important thing which he has said, and which I would like to again repeat, because this is what there is a little bit confusion arising again and again on this point. So I would like to once again repeat this. Perception without the perceiver in meditation is to commune with the height and depth of the immense. The perception is entirely different from seeing an object without an observer. This perception, Harshad sir has all, again and again talking on this. This perception is entirely different from seeing an object without an observer, because in the perception of meditation, there is no object and there is no experience. So this perception without recognition is not the same thing which JK is saying. In meditation, there is neither this thing meditator nor any experience. This is, or nor any observer. This is to be taken into consideration. So basically, the meditation is when mind has negated all the things. Meditation is ending of me, and for that one has to create an inner order and keep windows open. This is what my views are listening to JK or reading to JK. Now, for this order, he has been given so many things. People have asked him how to get that order and keep the windows open, etc. So he then said that there is a lot of things he has discussed, which we have discussed from time to time, like choiceless awareness, self-knowing, self-knowledge, what is, what should be, truth, reality, and actuality, insight, flame of attention, which Swamiji was referring, thought and intelligence, etc. So these are the things. So actually he has not pointed out exactly how to reach there, but he said that there should be inner order, and inner order can be gained by considering all these things which he has already given in his teachings. So meditation is the most difficult word to understand in JK's teachings, because meditation has been, as Swamiji has also said, meditation has right from the what tradition says about meditation, right from the dharana, dhyan, samadhi, savikal samadhi and nirvikal samadhi, all these things including sayyam, there is a sayyam also in that. So this all has been put together in one by JK basically. So in case of dharana, as he said, what these sports people and others use, they get a sort of relaxation, this a calmness of mind, convenience, flexibility in their body and all that. They actually approach first body and not the mind, and then from body they go to mind. Whereas in JK's approach, first mind has to be or only mind has to be addressed. Now, what personally I feel, this is here the question of individuality also comes. Suppose if somebody is having maybe having a very sharp intellect and very sharp mind, and he can go in a one way, and others are not having that sharp mind or that uh, clarity of intellect and all that, or their intellect has not grown to that level. And in that case, things may be different. People may have to address body first and all that. So these are my views. Right now, I have to submit this much only. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. Is there anybody else wanted to comment on it, including Chidanandji?
Yes, the statement meditation is where the meditator is not says a lot. It is the meditator who judges, who desires to reach somewhere. The meditator is the entity, psychological entity, constructed by thought, constructed and made of some conditionings. Because after all our desires are a projection of some impressions we have had in previous experiences. Somewhere we went and somebody treated us so well, gave us very good hospitality. And next time we pass by that area, we have a desire. Hey, let me go. Let me enjoy their hospitality again. So memory is at work behind every desire. Therefore, the entity that desires is made of memories, made of conditionings, whereas intelligence is not subject to any conditioning. So there are a lot of such significance that emerges from reflecting on that statement. There is no meditator in meditation. Very mind blowing. But that's what meditation is. It's about blowing the mind, blowing away conditionings. But we should not have some what they call glamorous idea. I'm going to meditate and something will happen. If we go for some kind of fancy, that may be inviting another bondage. Let me stop here.
Thank you, Chidanandji. Pradeep ji.
Yes. I am audible, sir?
Audible.
Audible. Most of it has been covered. But one thing, the topic of today's topic is some reflections. Where is it reflected? That was the question in my mind. Where is it reflected? Is it a reflective consciousness we are talking about? Or meditation became important to self, which has no place in meditation. It has become important to self only. Whereas discovering, as Harshad Bhai said, from moment to moment means freedom from the known, absolute freedom from the known, no attachments, ready, freshly available mind to receive things as they are. Although these things, meditation is abnegation of self, meditation is to see things as they are, flame of attention is meditation. All these things have been covered in one way or the other. Whatever has been done earlier, because there are various views are there about meditation, what Dinesh was talking about. It means they may not be exactly what Krishnamurti is talking about as meditation, but each act must be having some role, some solace to human beings. Something he must be, they are giving something to the because everybody is not in a position to even understand what self is, how it works, when it doesn't work, what happens, whether he wants to see things as they are, whether he wants it. So likewise, so many things are there. So each guru, you may say, or guide, has given some idea about this fanciful word meditation. Sitting silently, even to start with, maybe with some difficulty, but it does give results. So I am not negating all that has been done in the name of meditation. Naturally, when self is silent, the whole energy is available. And energy is intelligence. So, can I see myself inside and outside? When seeing outside, what is happening to inside? And likewise, absolute attention through senses when I feel the world. So naturally, things become very clear, and my role in my sufferings will be clear to me. It is very easy to see relatively a tree, because tree doesn't react. It doesn't react. It is totally available to everyone, depending on how much, how passionate, how much you want to see the details in the tree and surroundings. So likewise, but in human relationship, things are very different. Things are very different because you see all sorts of responses, reactions which you may not like, hurts, everything is there. So meditation, of course, this is an idealistic imagination. The absolute selfless condition, although it may not be very unnatural to experience, this happens when I'm listening to a person totally, myself is not there. When I'm seeing a flower, myself is not there. A few seconds later, it may start talking, this is just like that flower, or the name is that, naming and all that. But this is not that difficult a situation. Selflessness happens. It has to happen naturally in us very often in our daily life, provided our desires, our desire is the right word. So, and that depends on our mind working, movement of the mind. So likewise, we can explain so many things, but I am receiving all through myself, limited self. Everything what has been said, I have received with my limitations. So this is all what I wanted to say. Thank you. Reflections, I wanted Swamiji to clear what does he mean by some reflections. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Chidanandji first and then Dinesh Waghmare.
I guess so. It's an interesting question. Who does reflections? All I can say is reflections take place in thought, in thinking, as there is great maturity of thinking, the self might take a back seat. Otherwise, even as we think about a topic like meditation, even as we reflect upon the topic of meditation, certain concerns may arise in us. Oh my, have I been meditating rightly at all? Suppose there is a concern, or at the other extreme, there is a certain pride I have been meditating in the right way. Meditation has happened to me on many occasions, and we'll, pat ourselves. That is operation of self. But with or without the operation of the self, reflection is operation of intelligence in the domain of thought, in the domain of thinking. For me, thinking is both with self and without self. As I gave the example during my presentation, if I say this flower is red, that is a thought. However, if there is sense of this flower on the plant I have grown is so beautiful, and flowers on plants grown by others are not so good, then this I, me, and my arose. Then the self arose. But to just see this is red, that is blue, this is big, that is small, also is thought in general English, in plain English. In plain English, the self doesn't have to be the kernel of thought. So let me conclude saying by using the word reflections on meditation, all I meant was some thoughts on meditation. Thank you.
Dinesh Waghmare.
One more important thing is to be considered, as far as I am concerned. That's what I think. JK has remained silent on many issues. Perhaps he wants that we should work and we should find out our own way. Say, for example, in one place he said, in meditation, it has been experience of the speaker to reach different states of consciousness, different experiences, and naturally one has to go through it in the process. So when he said that, what does he mean? He remained silent on that. Similarly, if we negate everything, then what will happen to the, see, many things are natural, just thought is natural. Chidanand Swamiji has bifurcated it in natural thought and ego, thought with ego. But basically thought is thought. So if we negate all the things, not only thought, but also the other things becoming and all that, then what will happen to the, these are all natural things. So what will happen? And in tradition, basically, let us discuss that also. In tradition, they say that it iti iti, means this is also that, this is also that. So in case of negation, how do we consider all these things? When we negate anything, then what relevance it has got? Let Swamiji throw some light on this.
Chidanandji, please.
Please repeat the question.
If suppose we negate everything, if we
Yeah.
negate thought, negate becoming, we negate all the other things, pleasures and all that, pain and all, these are all basically natural things. So the state which remains, what relevance it has got with the world? In case of tradition, they say that this is also part of that, this is also part of that.
Yeah.
In case of negation, what will happen to these things?
Yeah, I think to to visualize that is generally difficult. However, a sentence comes handy. Before negation, we operate out of attachment, aversion, we operate out of selfishness, and so on. When they're all negated, we very much live like outwardly like anyone else. We eat, we drink, we sleep, we get tired, we get thirsty, and likewise many other physical, mental movements also. We say, looking at something beautiful, oh, how nice. If we listen to a piece of music and it's good, we may say, this was so wonderful. Some other place we may comment, this music was not performed properly. That way it is the same. However, we don't operate out of selfish motive. It is through love. So they say love replaces a whole lot of other motivating factors in all that we do. Therefore, it is often said those who have cleansed themselves fully live in love, in unconditional love. That's the difference. But difficult for us to visualize. How we would imagine we may just stay quiet when these promptings vanish.
Yes, when we talk of this meditation, that is what should be for us. That is not what is for us. That is also
Right.
Anybody else wanted to comment on it? Harshad sir?
Yeah. Talking about meditation is more difficult than actually doing the meditation, because talking, it requires that you are very articulate, and then you have to explain in words what you actually do. Krishna ji is talking from his level. Krishna ji is not only able to meditate, but also he is able to speak clearly, explain everything. But Krishna ji is speaking from the highest state, and many people may not understand what it means to have no sense of self, or no thinker coming out from thinking, or what it means to observe what is as it is moving without any interpretation. So only meditation, for people who don't understand what Krishnamurti is talking about, for them it would be better that they try certain methods or techniques which are there in Buddhism or in other religions, so that vigilant and curious to look at itself, then what Krishnamurti says, it becomes very easy. But without looking at our own mind, and we try to understand Krishnamurti or Buddha or other people, then it becomes very confusing. So I would say that we must do more of looking at our own self than reading too much and talking and discussing. That may be more confusing than actually looking at our own mind in silence, if we can do it. So this is what I have to say, that required then explanation. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Chidanandji, you have left it? Or some last word from you?
Swamiji is not there.
Okay, sir. He has said that he will be leaving. Okay. Is there anybody else wanted to comment on it?
Pradeep sir was. Pradeep sir, do you want to say something? Pradeep Verma sir,
Yes, sir.
do you want to say something more on?
Not say, but we can have
May
little more.
I make a comment?
Yes, sir. Harshad sir.
Harshad bhai, welcome.
Harshad sir, please make a comment.
Yeah, just a very short comment is that
Yeah.
if we try to come out from thinking, we sink more in thinking. So it is like being in a mud and we try to come out from the mud, we sink deeper into the mud. So this is a kind of a metaphor that a person trying to come out from thinking goes to resist something, the more it affects you. So the only one can do is to just watch, observe whatever thoughts are going on without trying to do anything, then thinking moves in a very proper order. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Pradeep ji.
Some clarification from Harshad Bhai, because it is discovering from moment to moment. When everything is changing, including myself, very misused word, abused word, everything is changing. Where is the question of what is? This itself is an observation that everything is changing, including myself, and every moment is important, and every moment is fresh. And on what basis do you negate the whole? We have been talking, Krishnamurti was very much for the whole. But we keep on, even he said that even illusions they belong to the category of reality. Krishnamurti, I'm talking about, when he was talking about actuality, reality, and truth, he talked about these things. So, negation, where does it take place? If you define it that all thought-based things are not good for life, because challenges are from moment to moment, and one has to face it as such. But you might have seen the importance of thought in thought experiments that gave rise to brilliant discoveries in Einsteinian work. So many, you see, thought experiments. These are thought experiments that gave to. So we have to be very careful with ourselves while negating, because somebody has negated or somebody has experience of negating something and getting something great out of it. Yes. So one has to see himself from moment to moment. What am I speaking? Why I am speaking? Where I am communicating or communing? Everything has to be from moment a discovery. He talked about my book. You see, if I can read my book, it's a discovery all through. Everything is new, everything is fresh. So one has to be, one should not be led away by these main diktats. Freedom from the known. Observer is observed. How difficult it becomes for people to realize that every suffering, everything that happens to him and makes him suffer is based on this distance from observer and the observed. Otherwise, things would have been very easy for all of us. But we take it as if they are very easy. And then live the same life 24 hours. Thank you very much, dear. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Harshad sir, you wanted to say something on this?
Just one sentence that you can't negate anything, because then there is an entity which are trying to negate. So only one can do is to just watch whatever thoughts are coming and going. And in that there is no problem. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right, Harshad Bhai. That's right.
Now, should we end it?
I think so.
Thank you.
No other comment or no other.
First time you are in line with me.
Online Modak.
Yeah.
One line is that one has to start from where he is. As JK says, that
Right.
you have to start from where you are. So
Yes.
saying that it is a conscious meditation or it is an unconscious meditation or it is a subconscious meditation is confusing ourselves. So we have to
Yes.
start from where we are. And as
Yes.
we know that self is very difficult to be rejected
Yes.
because it has its own significance, its own importance. So we have to deal with it also, and we have to see what is right thinking. So
Fair
it
deal.
can.
Now please end it.
Okay. Thanks. Participation.
Lakshmi Mandaleeka.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
One minute.
Wanted to
Please
say something.
welcome.
1 minute.
Right.
Please unmute, Lakshmi.
Yes. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste to everybody. It's a nice thing.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Our what is Chidanandji Swamiji said very nicely, and as Harshad Parekh sir said, doing is easy, but talking about is very difficult. But at the same thing, Pradeep, I think sir asked. You see, when the mind is not there, anything is not there. Observer mind is making. So when mind is not there, there is no observer. Only there is awareness. So in that, no thought is there. It happens. When we are saying, it may be so many words we have to use. The word is not the thing. But when the mind stills, then that is there. And that stilling, when the mind stills, that is meditation. So always we are in the range of the mind, and all these things we are talking in the mind range only. So when the mind stills, meditation happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now please, Modak, end it.
Okay.
थक गए क्या?